Hey everybody, today we're talking about Mournival rules.
Welcome to Trident Wargaming, a podcast dedicated to all aspects of tabletop wargaming. Your hosts are Bill and Andy.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Trident Wargaming. This is episode 9, and I'm your host, Bill.
And I'm here too, Andy.
And we are jumping in Fast and Furious Mournival rules. So, with the Horus Heresy setting, it's been out for a little while, and you may find yourself in a spot where things are getting stale or a little stagnant, and you're just looking for something to add a little bit of spice, a little bit of flair back into your 30k games. And if you are such a person, I would highly recommend you look no further than the Mournival Events book and the Mournival Events battle manual. It is a treasure trove of units, characters, upgrades, like all the above, stratagems, missions, everything that is basically the extra little sauce, the secret sauce, right, that you want to add to your 30k games. It fleshes out things that aren't exactly in the rule books, the official rule books from Forge World, but it does actually bring in quite a bit of these things that are mentioned in the fluff. So
yeah, it does. There's a lot of options in these books. You know, like you said, from everything you said and more. Like, there's different gameplay styles. You know, there's even like a rule set for Adeptus Titanicus as well.
yeah.
Right? Slightly spice that up too. There's different missions and whatnot. Different rights of war. Again, different units. Just a whack load. Like, it's actually a fair bit. These books are pretty thick. So definitely look into them if you want to change some stuff up. I know we've been looking at them for quite a few months now, but they're definitely going to be very interesting when we get back to playing.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So
for sure. And now is definitely the time, because just yesterday the battle manual got updated to version 1.4. The Mournival Events rulebook got updated to 3.5. And the experimental and FAQ portion got upgraded to 3.6. And all of these files can be found on the Mournival Events Facebook page, and there will be a link in the description for you to check it out. And I guess before we get any further into it, I just want to give a big thank you to Tom, who has been putting in some serious work bringing this content to all the Heresy players and like the community in general. So, Tom, if you are listening, thank you very much for everything that you do, you and the Mournival Events team. Because yeah, it's greatly appreciated, and you're keeping Heresy alive, man, for real.
for sure, they're doing a really good job with it, and they're keeping to the aesthetics of the books and everything too, which is awesome. Just it'll go right with your collection, man. Like, side by side with all the other books. So definitely pretty awesome. Me being, you know, I do some local designs for doing missions and whatnot here with our community, and I can definitely respect the work that they've done into that. And it's crazy. It blows my mind, you know. Even seeing their own custom miniatures in the background pictures, like, that's what it's all about. right? So, yeah, props. That's what I say, man. Props to you guys. It's awesome. So, do we want to go over some of the stuff that's kind of in it, Bill? Or
Yeah, we can. So the biggest thing, I guess, as like the main disclaimer, okay, with this stuff, these are not just two guys in a garage that came up with like a rule set and threw it to the public and just call it whatever. You know, I was scoping out the page and one of the various Heresy pages on Facebook, and there was a guy who made a comment about, well, you know, if opponents want to use fan fiction fluff for their games, he wants to use his too. That's cool, but what the Mournival Events like rulebook and the battle manual actually is, it's a huge effort put on by these guys down in Australia, and everything that's in these books has been rigorously play tested. Like, I can't stress that enough. It's been play tested like at events. It's been play tested like in vacuum scenarios. It's been gone through, combed through to make sure it's the best it can be, and it's gone through many different renditions before it gets out, like to us. Like when there's experimental rules and stuff like that, that's a chance for a lot of people to give feedback, and Tom is very receptive on the feedback. He likes to know what's working, what's not, and they do tweak it. They update it. They update it frequently to keep things balanced and fresh, and also things that make sense, like in terms of gameplay. So
Right.
I just, before we go any farther, just like, yeah, this isn't just, you know, just fan rules thrown together. There's like serious work involved and a lot of effort put in. And if you are familiar with the Heresy system and you're a veteran player, you will appreciate a lot of the work that's gone in, because there are things that just, they're not broken. They're actually like well thought out, balanced units. So I just wanted to get that right out in the open before we kicked off here.
yeah, no, it's, you know, looking at it, even with just some individuals that we know, you know, it seemed to be well received.
Yeah.
The whole thing with it is, I definitely would want to incorporate it all.
Oh yeah.
You know,
It's the only
have
way.
it all kind of, yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't really want to go and pick it apart and just use whatever, right? But it's, there's so much in these books, like new rights of war, you know, different modes. There's even a kind of like almost like a kill team-esque kind of mode in it as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat. There's just different ammunition like I can go on right now, but gonna jump all over the place, right? So, but if you were looking into like Heresy and you're reading the books, and you know you wanted to add some of these other kind of units or characters that you hear about in the books, that you know they always accompany the legions, well, they're in these books. Yeah. Right? And it's awesome because you can create them, and you can convert your models to do that. You know, it's just, it makes it so interesting to see on the board or in a person's collection that, you know, they have remembrancers, right?
Yep.
Or, you know, you decide to make some assassins because they're in there, you know. So it's pretty neat. And then some of the units too, like they've taken some of the regular units, like breachers, and they've made them into smaller squads, but then they have a little slightly different kind of options, right? But they're considered a support breacher squad.
Yeah.
So So there's things like that which change it up, but they don't just, take a unit and change it. They actually do, okay, you can have this unit, but there's a restriction. You have to have still the regular breacher squad there, right? So really, 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 thought through in the creations of these units. There's some units that are just so fluff wise, like fluff heavy,
Yeah.
that it's awesome, So I know there's probably going to be a few of these units that probably show up on our tables.
Oh, for
That's
sure.
For sure.
For sure.
There's
Well, I guess kicking off, we can do like a quick overview of just the events rulebook first.
yeah, for sure.
So with, like Andy kind of touched base on a little bit before. So yeah, with the Mournival Events rulebook, this is where you're going to find your main modes of play. So they have a Centurion Mode, and it is similar to the Eye of Horus podcast Centurion Mode, but it does have a little bit of subtle differences, and some of them actually aren't actually bad at all. The nice thing about it is basically some of these units now from the main Astartes army list become restricted.
Yeah.
And these restricted units can't be brought to games under 2K, which is really nice because, a Leviathan in a Centurion game is just, well, let's be real, it's pretty deadly. So, he's restricted to 2K or more, which is nice. And most Centurion games are around, between 1,000 and 1,500 anyways. But they have, for Centurions specifically, they have additional rights of war, which totally change the flavor of your army. And, I'll touch on a couple because, I don't want to steal all the magic away, but, just some of them, so the Legion Tactical Company, it very much does focus on tactical marines, like the name suggests. What's nice is that all your tactical marines in this detachment, using this right of war, can fire Fury of the Legion every turn. And with any amount of models. So it's not just restricted to 5 models or more, like the standard tactical marines are. They still have to be stationary as per, normal. But it's just, how thematic is that? If you want to take your 3 or 4 tactical squad crew and just line up and just let it rip. And this is not even we're not even getting into the specialized Legion specific bolt gun ammunition yet. So it's just, there are some limitations that they have brought in, but to continue with the effects anyways, Iron Havoc squads can be equipped with suspender webs for 5 points. Legion Heavy Support squads are equipped with suspender webs already. And Legion Heavy Support squads in the detachment gain Implacable Advance. So this is a very cool thematic style list if you really want to focus on, heavy infantry, which Centurion is, tactical marines, heavy support marines, just honestly all rolling in, all scoring. Your limitations for this particular one are Legion Tactical Squads must be taken as comps, which, sure, no problem. And at least one Legion Tactical Support Squad must be taken in the detachment. Again, easy. POW class squads may be taken as Legion Tactical Support Squads for those Salamander players out there. And the detachment must include an independent character of the infantry. And in brackets, it does specifically say not jump infantry type. So, that's just one of, 12? Yeah, 12 different rights of war that you can use. All right,
and they have They have some specific ones for specific legions too, which is pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they do. It's crazy. Like, obviously, if you guys are listening and you really want to know more, again, I can't stress it enough. Go to the Mournival Events Facebook page, download those files, check them out. If you want us to do an actual like deep dive where we go through the book cover to cover and really like explore all the options there, hit us up in the comments. Let us know. We're definitely more than willing to do that. It's just we're just exposing it. We're putting some people don't really know what the Mournival Events rules are quite about, and this is kind of just a quick highlight to show you that there's alternate ways to play your Heresy, and that this is just giving you another way to play.
exactly.
So,
And that's just one of the modes. Like the other mode is the Carrion Mode, and it's pretty much like your models are individuals now.
yep.
And there's a couple of rules that change for them and whatnot, and they can become an ad hoc unit where they actually form a unit just through coherency and whatnot. And there's a couple other special rules to get, like split fire and whatnot. But it's different because there's things too, like Lookout Sir and challenges are actually not used in this game mode. So that changes things up a bit. And also you have like your characters, but you also have like squad leaders, like your sergeants and whatnot.
Yep.
They get changed in it too slightly. And then there's a whole bunch of different point increases just due to the simple fact of how this mode is kind of designed, right? So it's I'm pretty sure it's like a smaller, kill team kind of style game, which could be pretty fun, to make your own little specialized, special forces unit kind of thing. All the converting that you can do and whatnot with each miniature and make them, alive kind of thing, right? Just each miniature is their own specific kind of character. So it's pretty neat. I can see maybe this being used for some smaller battles, kind of almost in like a Zone Mortalis setting.
Modified zone for sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's other rules for this too. Like, like Legion Astartes, they can get different types of grenades. It's not just the crack grenade and whatnot that they can get, right? Stuff like that. Even Solar Aux get some different things in here too. Same kind of thing. Points get increased, but they have different options. So that one will be definitely one to try out at some point.
Oh, for sure.
But to try out, I think more to try out these new units. That's where the excitement's really going to be.
Oh, it is for sure. They do have additional ammunition types. So there's specific ammunition types for independent characters, and then there's ones that are Legion specific. They also have them for militia, and then going through, they have a bunch of exotic melee weapons. Some weapons that just they're mentioned in the fluff again, but they don't have any stats. They don't have any profiles, right? Which is kind of nice. One thing that I really thought was a really nice touch is the additional psychic power disciplines. And that is legit. Like, there's a nice solid 8 different psychic disciplines that you have access to in this book. And it's just, it gives a nice amount of variety, and it changes things up. You're not just using the standard rule book. I would recommend looking at them because some of them are actually pretty cool. Very like thematic based, right? Like this is where you're adding so much flavor to your games. So, and like Andy mentioned before, if you're jumping in, you know, like don't just dip your toe, jump in full bore, jump in, cannonball into this stuff, because this is what's really going to ignite the community. It's going to buzz some excitement. The conversion potentials are just through the roof, and yeah, you're gonna have a good time.
It's a whole other chapter, is what this is, right?
Yeah,
and I foresee it just getting better and better, and there's going to be more and more of it. So, you know, we all know the books are the way they are, and it takes a while for Forge World to come out with, you know, more content and whatnot. And who knows how much more there's going to be for it to come out. But these guys who are creating this content they're definitely making Heresy anew, right? This gives that flavor, like Bill said, that extra spice, you know. And even some of these psychic disciplines, I don't even know if I could pronounce them right, but some of them are pretty awesome. Like that Sinistrum,
yeah,
that's a vial of time. You know, it's literally just a power that affects all your models and reroll saves, but unlike other rules in the game where it's like, oh, reroll saves, but you still need your regular roll. This one clearly states like you need a 4+ on it. That's it. Like it's not your regular save, right?
Yeah.
But it's just there's different ones like that. They all seem pretty balanced, pretty fair, and it'll definitely be interesting to see what they can do in the games, how they change it, right? Because there's even more choices for I think there's more psychers now too in these books.
Yeah, there's different levels of psychers, like anything from a rogue psycher. They have a little bit of a different build on the Grey Knights as well. Not Grey Knight. What am I thinking of?
The Errant.
Yeah, Knights Errant. Sorry, Grey Knight. 40k.
Whoa, going in the future.
Yeah. Anyways, we're back in the back in 30k. But yeah, they have like very interesting builds. A lot of the different assassins that you read about in the books as well, like in the Nemesis book, they actually have them in this book. You can make those style assassins. It's just there's a lot of really cool fluff stuff. They also have they have faction, or I shouldn't say faction, traitor and loyalist specific units as well, which is pretty nice. And then they also have legion specific units that you can go into depth with as well. Like for instance, the 6th Legion Watch Pack, which is obviously Space Wolves, and they have their own kind of like entry in the book, but they also have some special rules that aren't available in Inferno. So there's some really cool things to check out, and they also have an Alpha Legion sleeper cell, which they have some pretty neat little abilities. Basically, deep infiltration. Cells placed on the board acts as normal. Basically, they're there, but they're not there, right? Like it is interesting. They've done a lot of work in here. Different HQ console types, and then they've got some, Legion Possessed, a Stardy Squad. It's for traders only. It's just, there's tons of different stuff. One nice thing I remember looking back at this too was a Legion Independent Tech Marine. So this Tech Marines, it's an elite choice as well, again, but it's almost, this is how cool it is. So apothecaries, you buy one, you can attach it to a squad, and that's fine. But these Legion independent tech marines act the same way. So you can actually buy one, you can attach it to a squad, and when he is attached, he can increase the capability of the legionary squad, so they can all have suspender webs for 5+ points a model. If they have a heavy weapon, they can have suspender webs, or they can all get biocorrosive ammunition for +2 points a model with rotor cannons, or Sabat rounds for +2 points a model with an autocannon, and they gain Sunder, which is pretty sweet, right? Like, it's really neat to be able to have all these little additional options for your game. And again, like, you hear about tech marines running with a squad, right? They're rolling or drop podding in or busting in through a rhino, like,
yep.
And it's just can't recommend it enough. There's so many different things.
Even like you were saying before, the characters or the Gunnery Centurion.
Yeah.
What is this? Is actually called here? Yeah, the Legion Gunnery Centurion. Like, every other Centurion console is pretty much melee, right, or support. Where this guy, he's a character that's able to have a heavy weapon, right? So, like, he would just fit in with some heavy weapon squad and lay some waste, and he gets split fire, plus he has a special rule munitions. Any units in the same detachment would be equipped for 2 points per model with autocan Sabat rounds, missile launcher Sabat rounds, and a heavy bolter, and they have splinter, so it gives them rending on their heavy bolters, or it gives sunder on the missiles or sunder on the autocan. So it gives some more options to these heavy weapon teams that you like. We don't see them that often.
Yeah,
but it could change when it comes to this now, right?
Oh, for sure.
Which makes it very interesting. But even going further, like, you have Legion possessed Astartes squads.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're traitor only, but you now have possessed. And it's not just allocated to, like the word bearers. They can go into every traitor legion now, which is awesome. You can start making those fluffy looking armies, the late war. So it's a lot of options, a lot of cool rules, and there's quite a few of them. Like, from every selection, elites and troops and HQs. And then you have, like we talked about before, the support squads.
Yep.
But it's a Legion Assault support squad. And they have different options too that the normal squads don't have. I know I think it's the Legion Breacher support squad.
Yeah.
So they're all equipped with flamers. And this is a 5-man unit, which you can increase to 10. But they all have flamers, and they can switch out their flamers for, Volkites or laser cutters or a grav gun, melt gun, plasma gun. So definitely makes them a little different. And I think they'd be pretty fun to use and see on the board more.
Oh yeah.
So no, it is pretty neat, and there's a couple of different units that are Legion specific, like you said. But it's pretty good. It's going to be fun to see these on the board. Fun to make these.
Yeah.
On a hobby aspect. I'm sure there's quite a few pictures out there already of guys' homemade units. What else we got here?
They do a good job of rounding out just kind of what models are available from GW2. Like, they have the Legion Mars pattern Speeder Squadron, which is, you know, the Games Workshop plastic land speeders, but they have their own actual, you know, rule set in here. And then they have a Mars pattern javelin as well, with an additional little bit of info. It's just tons of different stuff. And that's to say, it's not just Astartes that get all the goodies in this book either. The Solar Auxilia has a bunch of stuff in here.
Yeah, they get a...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying they get a boost.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah, Mechanicum get a ton of stuff in here as well. The Militia get a bunch of stuff in here. The Custodes get an additional HQ. If you really want to go in depth, and I'm talking like deep campaign, like all the immersion, all the fluff, they have a very in-depth custom character creation guide, and like that's no joke. If you want to customize your character from the ground up in terms of your your character statistics, your stats, all the way from armor to your legion, weapons, Sciarcana, unit type, like the sky's the limit. You can go really deep into it and start picking a bunch of stuff. There's also legion special rules that you can apply. Warlord traits, specializations for... You can pretty much make your own custom character and give him console types through that. And everything costs like a point, or it takes points to get there. So, you know, you can't just... You could go buck wild, but I think most of the time a lot of the custom characters are meant to be WYSIWYG, and they also have a maximum of 40 advances and 200 points for like Mournival Events player packs. So, you know, 200 points, you're still getting a lot of different utility out of your characters, which is nice. So it gives you, a lot of different ways to play.
And those characters, it's not just like the Astartes.
No.
Like, you have the Solar Auxilia, Mechanicum.
Yep.
And I believe they have, believe it or not, demons as well.
Yeah. Demons of the Rune Storm.
Interesting.
Yeah. They have Sisters of Silence, Custodes. It's just, it's never ending.
Militia. Yeah.
It's pretty legit. The nice thing is, like, as you start to get kind of to the end of the book, that's where they've got all these Zone Mortalis stratagems, and it's got its own, like, this has its own, like, flair for Zone Mortalis games, which definitely changes a lot of things. They've also got city fight stratagems, which, you know, helps you take it up that next level, depending what you want to do. A nice kind of nod for what these guys did too. So the Mournival Adeptus Titanicus rules, they fixed things when those Perforian Knights came out, and Games Workshop didn't really know what to do with them. Because let's be real, like, they're super good for what they do, and they ended up actually addressing some of that in like an FAQ. They changed some of the points. They made it a little more balanced, and it was nice to see. They also have some really cool missions in this book as well. There's 10 different missions that you can play in there, and then they have secondaries as well. It's just, I can't say
all this extra content.
Yeah, I can't say enough good stuff about it. It's just, this, if you want something that's like honestly gonna drop kick like your Heresy group into, like, you know, getting pumped up and keeping things fresh and, you know, all exciting, this is definitely like a book to get. You can pick up a hard copy. Basically, you gotta touch base with Mr. Andrew Hollis. He will ship you a book. I would highly recommend getting one because they're beautiful and they're well done. But you can print them off too, or keep them on PDF. It's really up to you.
Yeah, and that's just one of the books.
Yeah.
Like, that was just the main rule book. And then you also have the battle manual, right?
Oh yeah.
So
That's
like
where it all, like, more stuff starts to drop in.
like there's more agents, agents of the Imperium, agents of the War Master, navigators and the assassins again. There's more. There's lodge masters, Black Pariah,
Yeah.
demon hosts, just chosen of Malkador, you know.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And then there is also additional units, like other units and other weapon options and veteran like Terminator squads.
Yeah.
You know, plus there's some Lords of War in this one too.
Yeah. Some new Lords of War.
Like if you guys remember the Marauder Super Heavy Flyer, that big bomber that looks like a futuristic B-17 Flying Fortress. It's in here. So, yeah, and then there's the missions.
Yeah.
More missions.
Oh man.
Two
of the HQs I do want to touch base on in the battle manual, just because I think it's so well done, and because they're such a big part in the books. If you want to run a Remembrancer with your squad, in your force, you can. They are actually pretty cool. They have a really neat mechanic. A Remembrancer is 50 points. HQ. So what ends up happening is, for each enemy character that's killed within 6 inches, this is Heroic Witness special rule, by the way. The Remembrancer gains a token, and you can use these tokens throughout the game, and you can have a single reroll of any dice by any character in the same unit as Remembrancer. So this can be like leaderships, hit to wound rolls, armor saves, run distances, etc. If the Remembrancer is killed, the tokens are removed. What's really cool though is they have another chunk of, wording here for recorded legacy. At the end of the game, any unsaved tokens on the Remembrancer are converted to campaign points or victory points. So, 1 campaign point for every 5 tokens, or 1 victory point for every 3 tokens that are remaining. I really like that mechanic, just because, you want to run a legit, Lunar Wolves army, and you want to have, your own style, your Frady Keela or Mercedes Alderton from the book. You can honestly convert one and have them running around and really play it to the book, so you can reenact it. They also have an iterator, so you want to run a Kiro Cinderman running with your crew, you really can. This is the kind of stuff that really keeps the game interesting, and it really brings that lore that we all love, like, to the front of your games. And I still think you can use everything in these books and still have really good, thematic, flavorful, good games. And I don't think it actually diminishes from the gameplay at all. If anything, I think it makes it more interesting, because there's just so much more to try and diverse your list with. It's just, it's incredible.
Definitely. Yeah, and some of these special rules that they've came up with, like, they're quite fitting for these units, and well thought of, right? Like, they're really well thought out, I should say.
Yeah.
They just there's a bit of flair to these rules, right? Like, you have the Knight Errants have, like, just Oath of Moments. The Chosen of Malkador have Orders of the Sigilite, right? It's part of the whole story. Makes it really interesting. Gives your games just a little bit of different flair, you know, and makes things a little bit more interesting. Changes it up. Definitely worth looking into them and not just kind of I don't need to put one of those in my army. Definitely look them up. Check out all the units that are in these books. You know, some of them have a lot of special rules, granted, but you know, a lot of them have the special rules that you're used to. You know, fearless and feel no pain. It's all the little specific new ones that you got to take a look at and really explore, which is awesome. Yeah, there's Hydra Operative. Those would be good to put in the game. You know, paint them up different, have them kind of infiltrate different units and stuff. Be pretty neat. Lodge Masters. They have a whole section on them as well. And they got like quite a bit of different rules, you know. One of them is I can't say. We all know that saying, right? So, you know, like at the beginning of the game, the same time the warlord traits are determined, a mission must be secretly selected for each model with this special rule. Each mission represents an objective that the Lodge Master must achieve with an associated victory point score. This mission is revealed at the end of the game. The objective is achieved. The Lodge Master side earns the indicated number of bonus victory points in addition to any claim as part of the mission. So if the secret objective is not achieved, the model side may not claim the victory in battle, regardless of any of the other factors, right? And they have stuff here, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 7 different rules underneath here. But like one of them is God Killer. You know, if an enemy Primarch or Valdor is slain during the game, gain D3 victory points, right? The other one is Hand of the War Master. The Lodge Master gains implacable advance. If the model holds any objective outside the friendly deployment zone, gain D2 victory point. So it gives it a little bit of a different feel, and you get to play that kind of side game with this Lodge Master, you know. So it's gonna be good to see those out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into like additional console options. That's a whole different load of rules as well. And it's looks like it's specifically for each legion. You know, they have their own little rules. They have like 6th Legion Claw Leader, Space Wolves only. You know, and they have a whole bunch of different rules. Detachment containing a Berserker Claw Leader must contain an additional Greyslayer squad. They get the Bloody Claws Right of War, or they may use it, I should say. And then it's just a whole bunch of different options, jump packs, combi weapons. You know, for 15 points, the model can use Howl of the Death Wolf. And note that this may be used in addition to other instances of this rule if it's relevant. So just little things like that, little different rules, different consoles, gives it a bit of flair. Additional weapons, pretty neat. Legion veteran Terminator squads, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, they have veteran honors. So it's good stuff. Then we get to like some vehicles. One of them is the Legion Land Raider. So they kind of change it up a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
So I know one of the big things with this one is the capacity is changed. to 12 models and may transport bulky models. So it changes things up slightly. Normal Land Raiders like holds 10 infantry pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Or like 5 Terminators.
5 bulky. Yeah.
Yeah. So it changes it.
That actually kind of leads into this other part with the experimental and FAQ.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah,
with the experimental FAQ, they've basically gone through a lot of the army list units and also Legion specific units, and they've changed a lot of stuff. Like, I'm talking a lot of stuff. These are obviously issues that have been coming up and need to be looked at, right?
Yeah.
And this is like their army list errata. So Legion javelins with Cyclone missile launchers, increase these by plus 10 points per model. So there's just little things like that. Imperial Fist, Sigismund actually loses Internal Warrior, and he gets marked by Dark Fates instead. There's a few different things of just the way these units work. They go through a bunch of factions, Mechanicum. They have Talons, Legion, Astartes in here. They've got some pretty interesting things like Legion Skyslayer. Support squads decreased by 25 points per unit. The entire unit may upgrade their multi-meltas to las cannons instead for plus 15 points per model. Like that totally changes things. Sikaran battle tanks and Sikaran Venators may be taken in squadrons of 1 to 2 models. And then, like Andy mentioned before, the Legion Land Raider Phobos has a transport capacity of 12 models, which is nice. Like, there's little things that they've been changing in here that make things different. This one I know is a huge change, and it makes these Terminators super good. Emperor's Children Phoenix Spears are now AP2 at all times. So now here is a...
Oh, they needed that.
Yeah, well, for sure, right? So here's the thing. They're now AP2 all the time. They have their initiative bonus. They look beautiful, and they can actually, kick some ass on the tabletop. That's just insane. The Phoenix Terminators are also increased to 2 wounds each. So now, wow. And that's not even... They're not even any more expensive. That's just... Flat out, that's just what it is. It's nice. There's nice things like this. Imperial Fist, Templar Brethren are decreased by 25 points per unit. That's huge. That's huge. It makes things so much better, I think. Ultramarines, Fulham Terrace Terminators decreased by 25 points per unit. Reaper autocannons decrease the cost to 10 points. It's really nice to see them go through these units and specific models and just tweak them a little bit, and some things that are just silly that should be changed in the Forge Ruled books. These guys go through and they actually do it. Salamanders, Vulcan's weapon Dawnbringer gains the Master Crafted rule. Well, yeah, why wouldn't it be Master Crafted? But in the actual Legion's book, it is not. Here's this Master Artificer, and his weapon is not Master Crafted. It's crazy. So yeah, again, kudos to these guys for going through and actually fixing these units and tweaking them. It's just, yeah, it's really nice to see. It's very refreshing. There's a ton of different stuff in here, guys. I'm honestly picking one every 10 points, because there's a good solid 2 pages of things to go through. There's a lot of stuff to look at.
There's a lot. Yeah.
And then they go through revised units, right? So they revised the Command Squad, Contemptor Dreadnought Talons, Deradio Talons, Outriders, but and the list keeps going on, right? They revised Salamander Fire Drake Terminators, give them access to another weapon.
the World Leaders Rampager squad they
Yep.
revised.
Yeah.
So I mean that's that's good. They definitely needed something,
Yeah.
right? So
It's huge, right? Just again, check it out. It's super good. It's just if you want again like a deeper overview, let us know, because there's so much like to squeeze it in an hour. It's not the way. But believe it or not, I am going to be working with Tom to try and schedule a time where we can actually get together with him on the podcast and talk to him about the inspiration behind Mournival Events and like the process, like just so you all know, like the process that they go through to actually bring these units from conception to paper for us to enjoy. So definitely look forward to that kind of stuff in the future, because it will come, and we'll make sure we post it loud and proud to let you guys know what's coming down the pipe.
oh, definitely. There's gotta give them credit again. I can just imagine the amount of hours that they've put in playtesting, designing, trialing, even like setting up the books and stuff. Just the amount of hours that they've put in, let alone the one rule book.
Yeah.
But then you got the battle manual, and then you got all the FAQs. Like, plus you got, not only do you have Horus Heresy, but you're also working with Adeptus, the Titanicus,
No.
right? So it's awesome to see it all come together and jive together, right? And the Heresy communities will end up playing these, for as long as they're playing. And as it looks like, it just released the other day, some updates and whatnot. So they're continuously working on this stuff. It's like a living rule book, right? It just continuously updates. So it's really good. It's a good place to be for heresy content like that. So we'll see what else comes.
Oh, for sure.
I'm hoping that maybe, who knows, in the future, maybe they come out with some kind of campaign.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Campaign setting, some other, like, I know they do have some campaign rules, right? But to see a full-fledged, like, campaign, some kind of other sector of space where the legions are involved, and just their own story with all these wicked rules, because they've been doing a really good job with everything else. So
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe you can sneak that in and, hey, let's get a campaign going.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, and they're quite successful with this down in Australia, right?
Yeah, it's
Like, they're
bumping down there.
because their events are quite big.
They are, compared to, like, well, for us locally here. Yeah, it's night and day. Speaking of which, I gotta thank Mr. Mark Meekin, if you're listening, for setting me loose on Mournival. It was at LVO 2019 that he showed me this book, and he was like, "Hey, you got to check this out, man. It's super cool." And I was like, "Oh, okay, let's take a peek." Going through it, and I was just like, "Whoa, like, this book is amazing, man. Where'd you get it?" And he just started,
I remember that day.
yeah, he just started telling me about, oh, Tom, with Mournival Events, it's this group of guys, they're cranking out all this, like, heresy content. I was like, what? It's just insane. And I know we've even started looking at bringing it in for some of the events, not only locally and just for gameplay, but even at LVO, to, like, bring it in to just take it up a notch, to just change it up. So again, like, thank you for introducing me to this, because it's awesome content.
You guys were pretty excited when you're looking at that book right before the matches.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
No, it's definitely good. It's I think it will revitalize things for sure.
Yeah.
In any community. So if you are having kind of just a little bit of a lull, obviously right now, maybe people are playing. I know we're not really playing, but it's just the way it is right now. But when everybody gets back to playing, definitely try these out. It's going to bring that Heresy love back. So there's going to be so many more good battles, so many good stories, moments.
Yeah.
Check it out. Try it out. Check out the Mournival page. That's pretty awesome. And down the road, I'm sure we'll have some conversions of our own and models to build for it. So it'll be a lot of fun. And there's going to be, there'll be guys in our community I know that will definitely jump on board with it.
Yeah.
So
I know Dan's already made heavy destroyers, which are basically destroyers and Terminator armor that can have multiple weapons. You can run them with double heavy bolters or double Volkites or double chain axes or whatever you want. Like it's quite interesting, and I know he's already got a squad of them ready, so he's told me many times for Zone he's ready to rock. So it'll be great.
Is it for his Iron Hands?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
For sure.
And like Bill said before, if you do want us to deep dive, let us know. Let us know Facebook. You can hit us up on email and everything else. Just check our Facebook page. Our info is all on there.
Yep.
We're on Podbeam, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're pretty much there. So yeah, definitely check it out. Let us know what you think, and check out Mournival Events Facebook page, because you will not be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about it.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah, that was Mournival Events.
Yeah.
Bill said, check it out. And we'll hopefully catch you guys on the next episode.
Trident Wargaming. Build it, paint it, play it.